Hey guys, welcome back to Prepping in Progress. I'm Steve,
And I'm Kim.
and today we're going to be talking about,
Your own personal disasters and how to kind of handle them.
well, I do the dishes and you stay happy.
That avoids a disaster, yeah.
Gotcha. So stay with us, guys.
Okay, so this week has been kind of a roller coaster of emotions and unassuredness, but we made it through. When we talk about personal disasters, I'm talking about things that affect you personally, affect your household, and pretty much nobody else in your neighborhood. And so preparing for those is definitely kind of an overlooked part of preparedness. Some people may give it, maybe lip service, but it could probably be more devastating because nobody else is really going through it. And so there's not like this community coming together after, say, a tornado hits or a regional disaster where you're all pulling together because you're all in it together. A personal disaster, you can almost kind of be left on your own to try to figure it out. And when I talk about personal disasters, I can give you a couple of little scenarios because we went through near misses this week. Sunday, pulling into the driveway.
Sunday, I'm in Oklahoma with
Doing the things.
Bear doing the
Doing the
things in Muskogee. How many hours away?
Oh, it's almost 3 hours away.
3 hours away. Take it away.
I'm coming home with the kids and the car breaks down. Luckily the car breaks down at our mailbox. And I limp it into the driveway and call Steve and say, "Come home, my car is dead." And it's like smoke pouring out of the air. I mean, it was crazy. That is something that luckily we were able to handle because, first of all, I've got really great roadside assistance, and so it was able to be towed. And second of all, we have a backup vehicle. Thirdly, Steve has some mechanical knowledge that was able to help us at least ascertain what the problem was and realize that we didn't really have
I didn't have the tools
to fix it.
I could
So
have
that got
done
put
it,
on the
but-
list. That got put on the list of, we need to increase our tools, and that goes into the solution aspect of it. But because we were prepared for something like that to happen, though unexpected and not as bad as it could have been, because my engine didn't blow up or anything. Luckily, it was a small.
And let's be honest here, guys. I'm 3 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking symptoms. I'm asking signs. I'm asking
Is it on fire?
what was the temperature gauge reading? Well, I don't know. Was there flame when you opened the hood? Why did you open the hood while it was, smoking and billowing?
Seemed like the thing to do.
I'm going through the list of symptoms, and guys, she blew the engine. I knew it. I absolutely positively knew, with all the answers to all the questions I was getting, that when I got home and took a flashlight and looked over the engine, I was going to see broken metal and pieces sticking out.
Luckily, that wasn't the case.
It's an even transmission fluid.
Sorry, we have children that don't know how to be quiet. 1 second. I must give the evil mom glare. I think it worked. But anyways, getting on with it. A car breaking down is a personal disaster, especially if you are not prepared for something like that. You only have one vehicle. It may be your primary vehicle. It may be your only way to get back and forth to work. This can be something that could be really devastating. Luckily, ours wasn't very much to be fixed. Like I said, we had roadside assistance and everything like that. And so overall, it didn't hit our pocketbook as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been
But
$2,000.
But it got us thinking that, man, that's a near miss. That is a close call there. Like I said, we have a secondary backup vehicle. that we don't really drive very often. I even have a little scooter, so I can hop on that thing and go to work if I have to. Yeah, it's a little bit. But then I go into work Monday, and we have another
Meeting.
fun day. Is I go into work and they announce that they're going to be laying off about 30% of my company. Nerve-wracking, right? I haven't been there very long, so building up an unemployment. I've been there only about a year and a half, so building up unemployment is not going to be that much. So I am super nervous. You can ask Steve. I could barely sleep. I was on pins and needles. We go in for the meeting on Tuesday, and
they've already sent some guys home the night before.
And yeah, we're sitting there on pins and needles, not knowing whether or not I'm going to have a job the next day.
And then the text comes.
Kim, can you come in early? Why? Luckily, it was for a good reason. They just told me that I'm no longer going to be on night shift. They're switching everybody to day shift, so either go to day shift or go home. So I'm on day shift now, but I still have a job. But 30% of my company, which is not a very big company, but still, don't have a job. And that can be extremely devastating to a family. To all of a sudden, because we've got a lot of guys there that just started not too long ago. And so they haven't really built up a lot of unemployment benefits. And there's not a lot of job opportunities in this small of a town.
Yeah.
That's one of the bigger companies that hires around here.
What this town still has is manufacturing.
Yeah.
And it's got 3 manufacturing groups.
4.
4?
4. We have 4 manufacturers here.
And they all work with metal.
Yeah. And so the metal prices and everything have really hit my industry pretty heavy. Not that I gripe about it, but it's just kind of one of those things. It happens.
Tariffs, they're tremendous.
They've taken a lot of companies and made them kind of skittish about making orders, and so we've slowed down quite a bit.
Mexico's not paying for them. China's not paying for them.
I'm not griping. But it got me thinking. I'm like, man, that would have been really devastating to have a car break down one day. It was in the shop while I was on pins and needles, wondering if I was going to have the job the next day to be able to pay for this car that's in the shop. Now, like I've said before, luckily we prepare for different personal disasters, including having a nest egg savings, making sure we have some mechanical knowledge if we need to fix it ourselves, having skill sets where I can go out to other places and find a job hopefully pretty quickly, but having different avenues to go out to solve personal disasters that you're kind of stuck with on your own to try to deal with can be more devastating than almost anything, because like I said, in a national disaster and a regional disaster, you're going to be able, okay, I'm going to bug out, I've got a mag, I've got this and I got that, and we're going to be able to fix it together. But it's different when it's just a job loss, a car broken down, a house fire, somebody broke into your house and stole all your pretty guns. Not a good day.
All of ours went down with the canoe in the river.
Oh, I know, it's devastating. Devastating things like that. A terrible boat accident where we've lost all of our guns. All of them. They're all... It was tragic. But another one that I've been through personally that hit pretty hard. Most of y'all don't know about this, but Steve is my second husband, and I've actually lost a spouse. And that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever been through. But luckily, we also had life insurance that helped us get through those sorts of things, and a strong family network to help move through. You know, you can't really move on from that, but to help move forward so you're not in a position of weakness. And I didn't have to go on food stamps, and I didn't have to get into housing. We were set up pretty well to be able to move on with our lives as best we could after something like that happens. But those kinds of personal disasters you have to be preparing for as well. It's sometimes fun to really think about these crazy, outlandish scenarios that we can think of. Like, I want to prepare for an EMP, and I'm going to prepare for grid down. And you read the books, and it's all adventure, and it's kind of sexy to kind of think about all these, post-apocalyptic Mad Max style stuff. And then nobody wants to really think about the personal disasters that can really devastate a family. The lady in Muskogee, luckily she was a part and got helped out for us. But she was also a part of a larger disaster where you did have many people trying to help. It was national news. We were all able to hear about it. We were able to find individuals that we could help out. But it's a lot harder when it's one person having to go through, like I said, a house fire that only affects just your household. It doesn't make any kind of national or even regional news, rarely.
And all of your neighbors think, well, he should have had insurance, so why should I help?
Yeah, and it's just...
Other things too is, you wake up one day and you suddenly find out your wife's been cheating on you,
Not me.
and she's been stealing stuff out of your house and your parents' home, and you're headed to Divorce City.
Personal disaster.
In personal disasters, suddenly your whole world is gone.
Your paradigm is shift. Everything is kind of turned on its head. And it's those kind of things that you can only prepare so much, but you can, to give you some solutions. Definitely make sure that you have life insurance for the loss of a spouse. Try to make sure you have at least a month at the bare minimum to pay all your bills. It'll give you a nice grace period. Even if you get a job the very next day, you may have to wait a couple of weeks before you get paid and moving on, things like that. So having, preferably a little bit more than a month, but just to start out, at least having a month set aside that would take care of all of your bills. I have been a big advocate of a security system. We talked about it on last week's prep talk about not shunning away from technology. We've had the same security system since 2012. And I love it because when my kids are here, it's an easy way. They don't have to have, if you're not a big fan of your kids having cell phones, there's a panic button, there's a fire button. I can look on the camera and see my kids. It tells me when the door's open, when they're home. We're actually getting an upgrade, hopefully next month, and it's going to be even cooler. So we might film that. It's going to be great. It's going to be really cool. But upgrading our security system, I know not everybody can afford that, but believe it or not, it's more reasonable nowadays than it has been in the past. So having security system, fire detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, making sure your home is protected, because that's where your preps are at, that's where you mainly stay at, that's going to be your shelter. And so protecting your home, having homeowners insurance, car insurance, a really good car insurance with a tow, with roadside assistance is helpful. But all these are different ideas that you can start. Yes, food is great because that will help you if you do lose your job. Most of us have food set aside that we won't have to go to the grocery store. But making sure that you can pay your mortgage if you do lose your job. What?
I'm just enjoying listening to you, and you're absolutely right. We do talk about, well, if I have an EMP, I've got an extra body control module for my car. Well, I've got an extra this. We traded in the car that I had all the spare parts for.
We don't have those
on the
anymore.
Jeep.
We don't have that anymore.
You just want to talk about a minor SHTF. There's the panic button of, I don't have spare parts to trade out on that vehicle. And these things we don't think about. We listen to Boyd Craven and all the different DD12 authors and Franklin Horton, and she's right. We go for the big and sexy terrorists blowing up the infrastructure of the grid and all this stuff, and the EMP.
Because it's exciting. Yeah, even though it sounds terrible, but it's still.
But, you know, I could have fixed the car if I'd used a hacksaw to get the piece off. But the piece underneath that I didn't want to scratch was aluminum. And hacksaw cuts metal, you know, things like that. You know, having the proper tools. I've got to go out and, you know, replace some of my tools from the shop that I used to work at now.
That's something to put on the list.
It struck home with me when I saw that hose come off, the engine is running, I am being sprayed in a mist of hot antifreeze, and I didn't have all the tools I needed. That in and of itself is an SHTF. Not even, you know, losing your house or losing your job, but not having the tools and looking at a problem going,
I know I have the skills.
I've got the knowledge, I've got the skills. Have the tools. You know, I had learned the skills in a shop. That would have been technically a 2-3 hour fix because I needed the engine to cool and to refill the antifreeze. That's the longest part of the job. But because I hadn't worked in a shop in a couple of years, I had misplaced, sold off, you know, returned some of the tools to
Some
my
are at the
uncle.
cabin,
Some
some
are
are
at the
here.
cabin, some are here. Little SHTFs become big.
Definitely. Like I said, and that's why I wanted to talk to you guys to really start thinking about go macro for a little while, and we're actually probably going to focus on that for a little bit. Rebuilding our savings because we had to use a little bit to get the car fixed, so we had to rebuild our savings, but working on the micro. And instead of just seeing the forest and not seeing the trees kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know, you're looking at this huge picture and you're looking at the macro and going, I'm ready for this huge disaster to hit, and then you're not able to handle a week being laid off,
Yeah.
missing one paycheck, 2 paychecks, or 6 months of paychecks.
Wondering if
Whatever
the car that you've had sitting as a backup,
it's going to start because
did you check the battery?
Did you put gas in it?
charge the battery? Which, by the way,
You're
you're welcome.
But focus, I want you guys just for a little while to focus on the micro of your own household first. Those disasters that would be most devastating. Like I said, whether that be an unexpected expense, I hate to say it, the loss of a spouse, please make sure, personally, me and my kids being saved and helped so much because we had really good life insurance for when my spouse passed. It can make all the difference in the world when you don't have to worry about paying the mortgage while mourning. It is invaluable. You know, I'm like, oh, money's just this. Trust me. As somebody who's been through it, when you're not having to go to work while your kids are mourning, it is a help.
Yeah.
It is a comfort to know that you will be taken care of, your kids will be taken care of, and y'all can just focus on grieving. Like I said, focusing on making sure that your home is protected from anything, whether it be fire or burglary or whatever it may be, but protecting the micro as well as planning for the macro.
Yeah. They say the love of money is the root of all evil, but the possession of money can buy peace of mind.
Definitely. But anyways, guys, I want y'all to tell me in the comment section below, what is a micro disaster that, because you prepared for that, you were able to get through it pretty easily? What's something kind of small could have blown up into something kind of big? You know, like I said, I've got guys now that I really, really care a lot about that had to go home without a paycheck this week, and that was really, really hard. I've really grown to love these guys that I work with, and it was really hard to see them go home, and I'm not really sure how they're doing, and so they're kind of on my heart and on my mind. And so really prepare to take care of your family, to make sure any kind of disaster, whether it be nationwide, regional, or just in your own household, that y'all guys are taken care of.
I like it.
All right, Guys, thank y'all so much for watching. Hope you like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And yeah, hit that subscribe button because we're growing and it's great. And I love it. We got so many new subscribers. I want to say hey and thank y'all so much for coming over and seeing us. But we're going to get off here and hope y'all enjoy y'all's cup of coffee this morning. So
Take care, Alan.